We are Journals Out Loud from the Journals Network. I'm your lovely and captivating host, Louise Palanker, here with a panel of wise and wonderful teenagers. Sing something.
I've been out there wandering.
That's exactly what I was hoping for.
I've been in
That's right. We're here with Ryan.
Yeah.
Mozart.
I don't know the words.
What? What?
Journals.
Dance to it, Liquid Feet.
Journals.
That's right. We have Liquid Feet live in the studio. Look at those moves.
Wow.
It's all head and hands right now.
It's like a lobster. Liquid
like-
head and hands.
Yep. That's
Our
what it's all
signature
about.
move is hard to do sitting down.
Right.
Really? Well, okay. Well,
It's a step.
you know, that's a good tease for later in the show.
Mm-hmm.
Because we all want to learn it.
Yeah,
Is it
And you
teachable?
will.
Is it teachable?
absolutely.
All right.
Sure.
Because I have to ask you guys. You guys are a dance troupe. This is 2/3 of Liquid Feet,
Uh-huh.
right? And who's not here?
Amber
Hey.
Kenny.
Kenny.
I hate her.
She's off doing big.
She said the same about you,
Yeah.
Louise.
Is that why she's not here?
We are not
Gosh.
talking. No, I'm teasing. I love her.
She's off being like
And-
Hollywood right now.
Is
like
she?
Super Hollywood.
Is she doing something more fun
I think
than
she's
this?
actually podcasting right now. is
I
what
think
she-
she might be.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, okay.
Traitor.
Respect.
She's on the
Mad
Long Shot
respect.
podcast, and I think she's doing that.
So, who are your dance inspirations?
Ooh.
Um,
Wanna take this?
I would say the Whiskey A Go Go girls from like 1964. A lot of this.
Right.
But so I don't alienate the kids. Maddie Ziegler.
Right.
And
Cool. I don't know who that is. I don't know. Do you guys know who that is?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, cool.
It's the one that everybody hates because Abby likes her so much.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wait,
yeah.
okay, you know Sia? You know that girl that's dancing
In
in all of her
the
music
Sia
videos?
music
Right.
videos.
That's
Oh, that's her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
You
her.
can't really see.
She's
I know, me
great.
too.
She's great.
Okay, cool. I appreciate that. I'm my
Oh,
own
sweet.
inspiration.
You are.
I dance from my heart and my feelings, and I basically try to dance like I'm at a wedding every single time.
That's me.
I
So
watch
that's
myself
what-
in the
You know
mirror,
what?
I'm
You're
like,
nailing
that's
it.
really good.
Yeah.
You know, you're
That's
nailing
amazing.
it.
That's what I'm
So,
going
have
for.
you guys seen their work?
No.
No.
Well, you know, have a box of tissues. It's
great.
that moving. It's very
Wow.
Yes.
moving.
A lot of teenagers have seen our work, and
Oh yes.
they're not fans.
Well, some
No,
of
they
it,
are.
it
No,
confuses
they are.
people because
They're
we get a lot of comments online that are just like, do they think they're actually
Yeah.
good?
Yeah.
And it was like, no, the point is we're trying.
Because we're
we're dancing the best we can.
this really awesome YouTube network called Snarled has a lot of our videos up,
Yeah.
and they have a large demographic with teens, and so, but like they won't, the videos aren't necessarily labeled like comedy dance troupe, so they just think
No.
that they're watching like a regular like dance troupe, and so they're like, these guys think that they're good, but they're not. It's like,
They don't
Well, you
realize
know,
that we're
that's
amazing.
exactly correct.
Well,
We're the
everyone-
best dancing you'll ever see.
But see, you're,
Wow.
you're hearing their voice. And everyone has a voice and an opinion, and you're letting them share that. Now, I was looking at one of your videos, and it has a lot of views, and impressively, as many thumbs down as thumbs up.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
Oh my god.
Right in
So-
the right even. We try to even it out.
yeah,
Balance is
yeah.
key.
And
If you,
so,
if you ain't got haters, you ain't popping.
you know, it's like red state, blue state, like you're representing. You know,
Right.
it's like we're dancing, but we're not dancing very well. And so,
We were
That's-
on this. We were on this show called Dance Battle America.
okay.
About a year ago now, and we were watching the tweets roll in as we were dancing because
Yeah.
they're like, these people, as everyone came up, they're like, oh, this is the boy band dancers, dancing against like the old people that dance really well, and now it's the cheerleader, and it was like a battle, it was a dance battle, so we had to like go up against another dance troupe, so we went up against former Patriot cheerleaders. And when I say former Patriot,
NFL cheerleaders.
yeah, former Patriot cheerleaders, I mean they like quit last week.
Uh-oh.
So they were
Hot
were
girls.
amazing.
Yeah.
But
Hot women.
super nice. They're our friends now.
Yeah.
Lots of throws and
Lots of hair whips.
Lots of
Hair
hair
whip-
whips.
okay.
They were all about
Lots
the hair
of
whips.
shedding also.
We actually had more lifts than they did.
You guys have
actually.
lifts?
Oh yeah, we
And
got
more
tons of
shedding
lifts.
too.
And shedding.
What are
Just
all these
constant.
terms?
hair flips as well.
So what happened?
Shedding, like hair
So what
shedding?
happened?
Well, we were dancing up against them, but it turns out the people voting for who would win. This is my big beef against Dance Battle America ABC. The whole audience was filled with 13-year-old cheerleaders.
Cheerleaders.
Oh wow.
So when they were seeing our magnificent selves dancing.
So they were for each battle that when we were the fourth battle, there were
Yeah.
4 battles, and with each battle, the winner was always the cute boys because
Right.
the whole audience.
So I
was,
thought we
Understandable.
were a lock. I thought we were a lock
You
because
should have
I'm
been a
the
lock right
cutest
there.
boy ever.
Right?
There's no
So what
boy
happened?
cuter than me. Future self.
Yeah,
no,
they
wait,
wanna be-
wait. Were you like
Uh-huh.
posing like sultry enough? Like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
My shorts
Louise,
were pretty short.
Of course.
Yeah?
Were
Oh,
they
that
booty
was-
shorts?
Yeah, basically they are.
Dave only
Alright.
wears tonight is the only time you will ever see him in long pants.
I
Oh,
He-
what an
decided to wear.
honor.
Yeah, you guys
So,
deserve the pants.
What you guys should know is that I brought you a clip.
Mhm.
Yay.
See, like my guests on this show, they don't have to bring a clip. I bring the clip.
awesome.
great.
I bring the clip.
Yay.
And you guys dance to a lot of really iconic television theme songs.
Yeah.
And we selected Adventure Time because my nephew here,
nice.
Jakey, is
Oh.
quite a big fan of
Wow.
Adventure Time.
That's an underrepresented one.
Yeah,
Sure.
we don't-
So we
yeah.
brought a clip, and
Okay.
go ahead, Matt. And there we go. Oh yeah.
See?
That's good.
There-
It's like 3-dimensional dancing.
Adventure time, come on, grab your friends. We'll go to very distant lands. We'll take the dog and then the hill and the fun will never end.
Quick.
It's Adventure time.
Wow.
Yeah,
That-
thank
That's,
you.
that one doesn't get a lot
Then
of
you
love.
blow up.
I'm
Yeah.
surprised.
I like
Well,
the explosion at the
I'm
end.
giving it a,
Yeah,
I'm giving it one
I'm
of these.
surprised you liked that
guys
one,
should
but
do
I'm
Jimmy
glad.
Neutron.
Right.
I'm pleasantly surprised.
Jimmy Neutron
I would
Gotta
love
blast.
That,
That'd be
that would be
awesome.
great. And then
That'd
you
be
could
a
go
great
gotta
one.
blast at the end and all like
Yeah.
put your
Yeah,
hands
and then
up.
all of you
I
explode.
meant to. I think our next, if we do, I think we need to do the Pokemon Go.
Yeah, Pokemon
yeah.
will be good.
Gotta catch him.
Oh yeah. So who does your choreography?
That's mostly not me.
Me and Amber.
Yeah, it's
Mostly because Amber and I grew up like we both have been dancing since we were like 4 years old in like local dance class and stuff like that. So
They basically have to make up like dance moves for me. There's
Yeah.
a lot of now you stomp
Yeah.
the bugs, Dave.
yeah,
Stomp the
we'll
bugs.
be like we'll be like it's
Get
not
now sassy. Getting
pot of Shaw.
sassy.
This one's called Stomp the Ants. Yeah, things
Yeah,
like that.
There's a lot of that because I dance from the heart,
Yeah.
and that's how I dance.
I
But
get that. Yeah.
And you use a green screen studio.
Not
How-
always.
how
but,
does it work?
sometimes we do. Sometimes we dance out in
The
public.
L.A. River.
Yeah, the LA River. It was great. We just did one that was on Venice Beach, and it was
That
great
one was
too.
so fun.
It was a lot of fun, and then we would dance, and we would get these like people kind of crowding around and taking our picture. We actually want to find out how many people have pictures of liquid feet just around.
I don't
LA.
think we talked about this after the last shoot, but after one of our last ones was at the LA River,
Right.
and the same thing, like as like people riding bikes go past, like they'll be like, "What are these fools doing?" So they like take out their phone and take a picture. We're like, I think it was Amber said like we need to put hashtag liquid feet on our shirts, so
shirts,
that when they
yeah.
drive by and they're like, "Who are these people?" They'll at least be like, when they post it,
I want to become like an LA legend. I want to be like,
yeah,
if
like
you
what's
look
her name?
really hard,
like Angeline.
Angeline,
We're
yeah.
gonna be like Angeline.
it's like you'll see the 3 dancers
Yeah.
as they appear in Echo Park. Because we're just
Yeah.
like we
Yeah.
just dance wherever we
You'll
can.
know them because they're in headband. Oh, we should have wore a headband.
We didn't
Well,
wear
if
a
Right.
headband.
Amber
Always
were
wear
here, you could
headbands.
do a dance like out on my deck because it overlooks.
That's actually a
That would've
beautiful
been
place to do
amazing.
it.
So
Yeah.
we should book a location shot here
Okay,
We would love
probably
that.
will.
I mean,
actually.
could we? We
Oh,
would
yeah.
love that.
for sure's.
Okay. I mean,
Okay.
we're probably going to take you up on that.
Yeah.
Sure.
I would be honored.
The more
I'd be
backgrounds, the better.
Yeah.
But
for
I
our
do need to
dancing.
say I don't want to be in it.
Oh, you don't
Oh,
have
that's
to.
okay.
I'm not a very
No.
good dancer.
That's okay.
Isn't that all the more reason to be in it?
Well, maybe.
Yeah. Face your fears.
Face your fears, Mozart.
Advice from Mozart.
Do you guys have any
It's
questions
starting.
for the liquid feet?
Yeah.
Ryan.
How did you guys get started?
Yeah, that's what he's gonna.
And you guys all meet and whatnot?
Well, we're all stand-up comics, and we started dancing at parties after shows and stuff, and we realized we were some of the only people dancing at
That's me.
parties and stuff. So we decided to kind of make it official, and our friends who do Lady to Lady, a show called Lady to Lady, they decided to have they wanted to have someone dance to the Law and Order SVU theme song. And so we got to they asked us
It's
to
pretty
do,
sexy.
on their live show?
Yeah,
I get that.
to do a dance to that, and we did it, and it was really fun, and we had a lot of fun doing it. So we're like, let's just do
TV
a ton
theme
more
songs.
TV theme songs. And now it's kind of expanded to whatever we want.
We don't just do TV. We've expanded beyond TV
Yeah.
theme songs, but that's what started us out.
We danced to Beyonce, Katy Perry,
Yep.
and
I think our
royalty-free Philip Sousa songs.
yeah.
That was a good one. That was my favorite one so far.
So you guys choreograph all your own stuff?
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
great.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we've had, like sometimes friends will ask to choreograph for us, but it doesn't ever turn out very dancey. It's more like a play.
Yeah.
So yeah, all of our dances are us.
One of the things we get asked more frequently than not after we do a show, is someone usually asks, like, can we join the dance troupe?
Oh yeah,
That happens all the time, and it's like, well, that's kind of
It's
a
kind
power
of
three.
exclusive, honey.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of our thing.
Kind of.
That's like when a friend asks to join your book club, and you're like,
Yeah.
no, that would change
The
everything.
dynamic shift.
Sounds very
Not the
specific,
same.
Louise.
It would be like,
Your book
Do you
club.
get- do
Louise
you
like,
get a lot of-
like last week. Just
yeah, because
Linda,
then
no.
it'd be okay, except for then
Linda.
you'd be here. That's the one thing that wouldn't be good about it.
That's usually what happens when I ask Jake to hang out. That's what he says.
That makes
So,
me
right.
sad.
I'm just curious, like which is like your each own favorite song that you guys have danced to?
Ooh, good question.
Ooh,
That is a good question.
I like the Mad Men theme song.
Oh yeah,
I think that's a good one because it ends with
a guy like dropping out of the.
well, yeah, it ends with Tamara and Amber do a lift where they're kind of.
Yes.
They're kind of on top of each other, and then I do the
Where's
couch.
that trumpet?
Not like that.
Wait, what's going on? I'm so
Okay,
confused.
Emma, if you can imagine the theme
Wait,
song,
what is
if you can imagine how Mad Men the theme ends, it's that silhouette
Yes.
of Don Draper in the couch, and his arm
Yeah.
is like this. So Amber and I in that thing that you when you kind of do when you're playing with like a 2-year-old where you like put them on your feet.
Sure.
And you lift up a kid like that. Amber and I do that pose.
Ooh.
And then Dave comes up and puts his arm out like that. So
I'm
we're the
Don
couch
Draper.
and he's Don Draper.
That's
I'm
so
Don
that's,
Draper.
hot.
that's the ending pose.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know
Jeez.
if I don't know if hot is the word, but it's
I think I'm very
it's
hot.
intriguing.
In that.
and it's a
I'm
crowd,
hotter than John Hamm.
it's a crowd pleaser.
Yeah, and I also like when we do Jurassic Park. That's a big one.
I think my favorite is maybe not the theme song ones, maybe more like at the Tomorrow Show we did like a recent compilation of like our most recent like the royalty free songs.
Right.
I think
Oh.
one of those.
We have a lot of
I really
royalty
Have you
free
done the
ones now.
X-Files theme song?
Yes,
We have.
Oh my
Yes.
God, you have.
That's one of my
That's one of
favorite
them.
ones because we do like a ballroom dance thing
Yeah.
during it.
Have
And,
you?
and it's
have
the
you-
most absurd too because it was the first time we used we end in the hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil.
Yeah.
pose.
Have you
It's so
done?
weird.
Have you done My Mother the Car?
No, we have not.
Okay, look into
That's a
that.
deep cut.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a deep cut.
Yeah.
Please do Jimmy Neutron.
It's got.
Jimmy Neutron's a great idea. I also want to do Cat Dog at some point.
Oh, Cat Dog would be great.
Cat Dog would be great, and I want to hit up all the Nicktoons.
Oh
I think the
yeah.
Nicktoons.
Hannah Montana.
Ooh.
That's
And
not a
Have
Nick-
you
done
Avatar: The
Log, Log,
Last
Log?
Airbender.
Like, that's just
Yeah.
the worst thing you could have said when he said Nicktoons is Hannah Montana.
Yeah, that was
not a Nicktoons.
I know it's
do the
not
one
a
to
Nick
Like
Family Guy.
Rocco's Modern Life would be good.
but like
Right.
No,
You should
Log
do
the
Log
Family
Log.
Guy one.
Ren and Stimpy. Log Log Log.
Yes.
Have you done it?
No.
It's the greatest song ever written.
But we also like the actual Ren and Stimpy theme song is actually kind of great because like boom 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 boom. That little like jazzy.
Yes.
That'd be.
Have you done the
Great
Family
themes.
Guy theme song?
No, we haven't.
It's a really
That's
great
good
one.
too.
Yeah.
You should do
That-
that.
Turns
that
out
might
there's
be-
so many.
yeah.
What about Bob's Burgers?
We have
Yeah.
not.
You guys
We
should do
can't-
iCarly.
it's
That'd
best-
be pretty
Oh,
cool.
yes.
Nick too.
Carly.
It,
Yeah.
it
Really
can't
funny.
be too jokey because like when the song is too jokey, like the Family Guy song is
Yeah,
already
yeah.
kind of funny.
Oh.
We can't
Yeah.
dance. We can't
They
dance
already
to a
kinda
funny
do a
song
dance to
because
it.
then it's like a joke on top of a joke.
Right.
So it
Uh-huh.
never quite
Right.
works as well.
Yeah.
makes sense.
It has to be the
Like we couldn't dance.
juxtaposition of.
Yeah, like we couldn't dance to a Weird Al song. That wouldn't go over well or something like
And
that.
that's what
He
makes
has
the Mad
told
Men
us
thing so
not
great.
to.
Yeah, it was legal. His lawyers
Weird Al keeps calling us and being like, "Do not."
Oh, he's so jealous. He just wants to be in the group. I think you should just assume that everyone who's being mean to you just wants to be in the group,
That's basically it.
pretty much.
That's
All
If
how
you
right.
we
can't
should
join him,
respond
hate
to it.
him.
So how's your adolescent wisdom going these days?
So
Fantastic.
good.
Thank
Good.
you for asking.
I
Pretty good.
basically have the mind of an 8-year-old, so this will help.
Excellent. Well, all right. Puberty's going to suck.
Yeah,
All right,
I'm
so
really scared
buckle
about it.
in. Would you like to read the first question, Lyric?
Sure.
I've been with my girlfriend for 3 years now, and all of a sudden, she wants to talk to her ex again. I want to be fine with the friendship, but it seems so sudden, and now she turns off her phone screen when I'm around and seems sneaky. Should I be concerned? She's also very rude when I talk about it.
Yes.
Oh, I can just start. Usually people
yeah.
throw it. My bad. Sorry about that. No, I wouldn't say that you should be worried in the sense that like something's definitely going on. But when you talk to an ex, your relationships with exes are always going to be a bit different than anyone else you know because you have history with those people and those things don't just go away and everyone remembers them. So I would say that like in this case, it's best to be really clear with your girlfriend and just say to them, can we sit down and have a talk about this and both of us be open about what's going on and what we're expecting? And like it's good that you want to be open to the idea of it. So just keep that mindset and try and actually listen to them and not go into the conversation with any preconceptions about what might be happening. Kenneth?
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, but this just does not sound like a good mixture at all. Like, it's too coincidental. That's not the word.
That's
Yes,
the
it
word.
It is the word.
It is a word. It's a word.
Could be a word.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't sound right. It just kind of like all adds up to something that's not okay. And the fact that she's getting defensive about it, like if she genuinely didn't have anything
Yeah.
to worry about,
True.
then she wouldn't be acting that way.
Well, that can
So
be the conclusion you come to. I'm just saying, like, don't go into it without actually discussing that
Yeah.
first.
I'm just saying drop
Yeah.
it ASAP. Like, it's bad. I don't think it's going to end well. But
I
sorry, what were you
don't, I
gonna
don't know. I think there's also. I think what you were getting at is. I think it's always a good sign when someone's friends with their ex, because that means they're not a sociopath. It's not like they've burned through so many people. So it's a good sign when they are friends. The turning off the phone and looking at
Right.
it, that's where it gets a little concerning. But at the same time, it means like if you bring that up and talk about it and don't have it be, but don't blame them, it's probably the best way to approach it.
Wish I thought like that when I was 8. I would've
Yeah.
been really
Yeah.
helpful.
That's why he's here.
I am a thoughtful
Yeah,
8-year-old.
if she's getting defensive, then something probably is going on and you need to have a serious talk with her. But when you go into it, stay as neutral as you possibly can and don't accuse her of anything. Just go into it with an open mind, be as neutral, and whatever happens for the best. And if she does have something going on with her ex, then then just let her and break up with her and move on. So yeah, Lyric.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like they've been trying, like, you've been trying to talk with her, and she's just kind of been like, no, like, it's cool, like, there's whatever.
Yeah.
No, and I think that that's just really not a good sign. And I mean, you're her boyfriend or girlfriend. Like, you should be able to talk about this, especially like, oh, if there's nothing going on between them, like, why not talk about it? So I think that it just seems kind of like, yeah, a sneaky situation, and just kind of maybe avoiding it, and like, if she's not going to be able to talk to you about it, you need to make some sort of a change in this relationship.
Especially after 3 years, if they've been together for 3 years, it doesn't seem like this is just a jealous person.
Yeah.
Like after 3 years and something's changed, like it doesn't seem like somebody.
Right.
It doesn't sound like you're being paranoid.
And she
Yeah.
suddenly wants to talk with her ex, like, it's just Kenan.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a good thing at all. And this is going to sound kind of weird, but it's a lot easier to lie when you're in like a low stake situation. Like if they come to you and they're really calm and they're like, oh, it's fine, but like, are you doing this? They're going to be like, if the person's a liar in the first place, and it's going to be really easy for them to just be like, oh yeah, like, no, you have nothing to worry about. But if it's a weird thing to say, but if they come at you mad and it comes like an intense situation, like the truth is way more likely to come out.
That's probably true, but I'm not advising that you go to the person and just say, hey, are you trying to have a thing with your ex? You're really what you should be talking to them about is what your concerns are. You can and ask them questions. Don't insinuate what's going on and have them deny it. Ask them what's going on and have them explain it. And then there is no lying to be done there, hopefully. You know what I mean? And also just like, even if that's true, you can't, like, that's a bad way to
That's
go about
definitely a bad
communicating.
way, but it's just like,
It's like, but I mean, you're right. Definitely people don't lie as well under pressure.
So yeah, those are all really excellent points, and I just want to add to that one of the responsibilities inside of a relationship is to make your partner feel safe. And so because we all feel scared and insecure from time to time, so if your partner is not willing to help you feel safe, then that's a red flag right there. And so you should approach it like Ryan was saying, and I think Ken was saying, that you should approach it in terms of like, I'm feeling insecure. help me, help me understand, the nature of your relationship with your ex, because it's, it's kind of like just hitting some fear buttons for me, and I want to trust you, and I don't want to tell you who you can be friends with, but, this is scaring me. So, like, if you're vulnerable and you say to someone, I'm scared, help me feel safe, I think that's fair.
Yeah, and I know that this might not be all relationships, but most relationships that I know of, when people are close and they've been together for this long, it's like, yeah, you can read my text. Like, I really don't care. And I feel, some people are more protective of their privacy, but just the fact that she seems like she's been turning off her, I don't know what that was, turning off her phone more and being kind of like, a little bit more private about that is just also really a red flag.
Yeah, definitely. And this is going to kind of sound pessimistic, but when you talk to your ex, there's a way higher chance of something happening than just a regular person. And the fact that they're texting a lot and that it's been 3 years and she's not making it extremely clear that there's nothing to be worried about is a huge red flag. So I know this is probably not what you want to hear, but you should probably have like a really serious conversation with her.
I would also say that, like, if you're seeing someone turn off their phone and trying to keep it away from you, that might also be because you're looking at their phone a lot, and
Right.
you're the one being aggressive. If they're being defensive, it might be a sign that you're being aggressive. So it's you should recognize that it could be partly on you rather than them. So that's why you have to open up the conversation then.
I see what you mean, but like also if you have nothing to hide, you'd be like, do you want to see my phone or something? Like you're not going to like hide, you know what I mean? If someone's being really annoying about your phone and they're making it a huge issue, then you'd be like, do you want to see my phone? Is there an issue? And then they'll be like,
But that's like a passive, like fighty way to an argumentative way to communicate.
It's
with
very
someone.
true.
I think that if you sat down and said, "Hey, would you like if you got into a conversation and they said, "Oh, there's nothing to hide," you might say, "Well, would you mind if I looked through your conversation?" And they might not say no to that. They might say no, and you have to respect that. But I think what you're saying is absolutely right. If you're going to look over someone's shoulder, our natural tendency is going to be to hide that. And I also will just say the last thing. Generally speaking, you know this person really well. You know yourself really well. Trust your gut. Like, I'm not saying it's 100% right, but your gut instinct is usually a pretty good indicator.
All right, let's move on. Next question, Ken, please read.
Yeah. Okay. So how do you ask your parents if you can have a boyfriend?
Mom, Dad, can I have a boyfriend?
So much that we get so many questions where people just say, well, how old are they? Because it would just really help a lot to know the age. So let's assume, since it's like a first boyfriend maybe thing, that they were about 14 or so. And so, the question is, do you have to ask your parents before you date, or should you ask your parents before you date? Dave?
I mean, I would say you don't have to. You could just go and date. And that's not something where you need your parents' permission, but it's good to be open with your parents and talk to your parents. And if you feel comfortable telling your parents about any boyfriends or girlfriends are on the horizon, you should just go for it and tell them about it, or say that you're interested in someone. Keep an open line of communication.
No secrets at home.
Yeah, it always depends on the situation. If your parents are really protective or if they're more lenient. But I want to say, like, it's always good to talk to your parents about it, because then they'll have more trust towards you in the relationship, and they'll trust you more that you're doing the right thing, and they won't worry so much, and they won't be like, oh, like, who's the guy? Like, have him over for dinner, like, stuff like that.
Oh, God.
Just like, yeah, but talk to your parents, because at the end of the day they are your parents, and they do tell you what you can and can't do. So yeah.
I completely agree with what you're saying, and this might be reading into the question too much, but the fact that they asked this question kind of makes it seem like their parents do care a lot.
Yeah.
And so if that's the case, you really don't need to ask. And parents, I mean, they're not completely clueless. I mean, if you're hanging out with the same person, they're going to come, like, after a while, like, be like, oh, are you dating this person? And then you can have that conversation. But you don't necessarily need to be like, can I date this person? That's not for them to decide.
But like, if you're going to actually go somewhere with this person, I mean, I don't see how you could not ask them.
How you gonna get there?
Yeah, like, you're
Right.
you can't.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
I mean,
I forgot there was a point where you couldn't drive yourself.
If you,
around.
if you want to go out.
Yeah, like I can remember, like, as early as like 4th and 5th grade, like we would say, like, oh, we're going out with this person, but it didn't mean, it just meant like at
Didn't mean
school we
out.
sat next to
Right.
each other.
Yeah.
Like you
Right.
didn't go out with anybody until much later. So like until you're actually going out and meeting someplace, I think you kind of have to. There's
Like there's this thing that I
or
call
otherwise you're going to be sneaking around.
Yeah, like there's this stage where I call it like sort of school dating, where you just kind of agree that you both like each other, and so that I don't think you need to maybe declare to your parents if you have like a school boyfriend, but if your parents have told you there's a rule that you can't date until you're 16, like if there's no established rule, then I don't really think you need to tell them. But if there is, and in a lot of homes there is, about specifically calling someone your boyfriend or girlfriend, so it really just depends on what are the rules of your household, and do you want to go out somewhere with this person?
Right.
Lyric?
It sounds like this conversation or talking with your parents about boys in general has never really come up, because I feel like usually some families have a thing when their kid is, 13 or whatever, they sit down and they're like, look, here are our views on you dating people. Just kind of, I feel like that's kind of a conversation that some parents have. And so maybe this conversation has really never come up. So I think you can just kind of be like, there's kind of a guy that I like, and I was wondering, I want to hang out more outside of school. Is that okay with you? Like, what are your views on me dating or having a boyfriend? And I don't know if, like, having a boyfriend, I generally think people date and then they become a couple. And then some people are like, we're boyfriend and girlfriend now. Like, some people mosh it as the same thing. So I'm just wondering if you either want to say, can I date this person, or can I have this person as my boyfriend? Like, choosing between both, because maybe they have it in their mind as two separate things, if that makes sense. So yeah. Right.
I will also add that there's a lot of different appropriate ways to handle this, but if you don't ask your parents and they do find out and they are opposed to it, you're going to have problems later down the line when things have gotten to another level, if they get that far, that are going to be more detrimental. So just be aware of that the further this goes without them knowing, if they are opposed to it and they find out, there'll be bigger consequences.
Yeah, like if they tend to look through your phone and they see that, these like you're using a lot of heart emojis, and so what's going on? And
A lot of eggplants
Our data
here.
plan does not allow this
Oh
many
my
heart
God.
a
emojis.
lot of peaches.
and
Peaches and eggplants. What's going on? We're just going to the farmer's market. I also want to say that, like, I think what you were kind of bringing up is that if you ask really early, it could put a lot of pressure on the relationship. Like, I remember there being a lot of danger early on where it's like, we're boyfriend and girlfriend now. We're dating now. I don't know why I was so aggressive saying that. But it's
Now.
putting labels on something really quickly can put a lot of pressure on a relationship and make it dissolve kind of fast. So it might be a good idea just to hang out with them in a group setting before you put a label, and asking your parents about it is a good way of putting a label on it.
And Lyric was talking about like the difference between going out on a date and being boyfriend and girlfriend. And what I've seen through the questions that I receive in the Journals Network app is that before high school, or even throughout maybe half of high school, anyway, like under the age of 16, no one goes on one date. They ask someone to be their boyfriend or girlfriend.
Yeah.
Like the asking out on one date kind of happens in college. At least that's my experience. So generally it's all or nothing, because people don't have the opportunity to go on they don't have any independent freedom. When you're under the age of 16, everywhere you are is exactly where your parents have placed you. Like there's
Yeah.
just no freedom.
It's just like, do you want to go out?
Yeah.
Like, when you're our age, it's like you don't really go out on dates. They kind of just like ask you out, and you're like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And then you're a couple, and then you kind of skirt around the fact that maybe you're a couple, and then you become official.
No.
I mean,
I can see what you're
sometimes-
saying, but that's not like set in stone or
Yeah.
anything.
Well, like it's kind of more normal.
It's like, I've
it's
been
more-
talking to this guy.
Yeah,
Come
it's
on.
like you're talking.
That's
and
like
then,
middle school really is where I see
Yeah.
that
But
stuff.
I
So
see
then-
I see this question is coming out of middle school.
Right, yeah, no, that's
Yeah,
I agree. This
definitely.
And
is
like one good way to kind of broach this topic is, because your parents maybe don't see this coming, if they still see you as their little girl, is you may want to just say, Mom, tell me about your first crush, and just start the conversation by
Story time.
I mean, is that something you would have done?
Me?
Yeah. to get your mom talking, or to make your
Never.
mom aware that you were starting to think about this?
Why would you ever let them know?
I would never ask
I
my
don't
mom
know.
that
I
question.
mean, no, I have not done that.
I would not do that.
Neither
would I.
I see you
Never,
shaking your head. You're
ever.
like,
I
no.
mean, not a guy, maybe, but
Well, I
would,
mean-
would you, Mozart? Would you just say okay?
The
Would you,
closest,
Tamara?
It's just embarrassing.
All
No,
right.
I'd rather pierce my own ears
I
than
wanna
have to
put a blanket
go
over my
through
head.
that.
All right.
Right
just
now.
reminds me
Waterboard
of-
I
myself.
think it's usually just like, hey, I kind of like someone. Can I go out with them? Like, that's it. It's not. It's usually pretty much
There's
that
so
Yeah.
many
simple.
questions.
Is it okay if
though.
I hang out with this
No,
guy?
but
you know?
like,
So many more questions. Like if you just did it on your.
Let's go to the phones.
Yeah.
hello, phones.
That's such a
Hey,
talk
man.
show. Hello, who's there?
Hi.
Hi, thanks for calling Journals Network. Who's this?
This is Sam.
Hey, Sam.
Hey, Sam.
Hi.
Did you want to talk about the question that we're addressing at the moment?
No, I actually have a new question. If that's
All right, we're all ears.
Give it to us.
Let's hear it.
Get paid.
Hello.
So basically, the story is that my now ex-girlfriend, her and I, when we were dating, decided to go on a break because I live in California, but I came out for the summer to North Dakota to see my sister for the whole summer.
Mm-hmm.
And while I was out here, she found someone else,
Oh.
and this guy's named Tyler, and
Such
we
a
were dating
Tyler
for a little over a year and a half. And this guy is pretty much a kind of a douche, and he's a player, and
His
Oh.
name's
This
Tyler.
girl's
We
alive.
get it.
Tyler, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a Tyler.
Tyler.
Classic Tyler.
The
How do you,
name's
how do you know that?
Boy.
How do you
The
know that
name
about
gave
him?
it away.
Parentheses.
How do you know that about him?
That he's a player, yeah. How do you know that?
Because there's a girl that used to be my friend. We used to hang out a lot, and he used her a lot, and he cheated on her, and he just disrespected her a lot. And so I kind of have two questions that leads to like one scenario, and basically like she kind of told me all this, and I'm not really mad. I'm a little sad. Yeah, I'm a little disappointed that she threw away our over a year and a half relationship for this guy that's going to disrespect her and use her.
Mm-hmm.
And like I want to help her in a sense and like make sure that she doesn't get hurt. But
You
at the
are
same time,
not
I don't
her-
want to.
No,
I don't
you.
want to be that guy that like.
No, you're not her rescue
overprotective and,
squad.
like-
You're not her rescue
Wait,
squad.
Breezy, this
Can
is
you
like
let him
mo-
finish really
Well,
quick? Yeah.
yeah.
I just kind of want to hear what he's gonna say.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't want to be that guy that's like constantly texting her and always like checking on her. Like you know what I mean? Like that one guy. And basically, like my first question is, how do I help her without being overprotective? Like how do I?
You can't help her. She's hurt you. She's hurt you. So for you to think that it's somehow your responsibility to help her or that would get her back is kind of really a bent scenario, and it can't sustain itself. Ken.
So you know how you said he cheated on that other girl, and that kind of made you it's a big alarm that he's like a jerk, right? That's what you kind of believe. Yeah. So this is gonna sound weird, but it's hard viewing it from your perspective. But that's kind of the same thing with your girlfriend right now. She just cheated on you, and I know you're viewing her from a different perspective, but from an outside perspective, that kind of taints her name in a way.
It's like both of them are culpable here.
Exactly. And a second part of that is sometimes girls have to go through a few assholes to finally realize like what is a good guy and what is not. And I know this is really tough for you to look and let happen since you've been with her for a year and a half, but she's just going to have to go through this one because it sucks, but she did, choose him in the beginning, and I know that's really painful, but she just has to regret that decision in order to be able to learn from it. Jake? That's not your name?
No, it's not. It's Ryan.
Ryan. Every
Jake,
time.
what happened?
Every time.
So this is
time.
very similar to something I went through at the very beginning of the summer. So I feel your pain on that. But I think, and I had the same like feelings as you, where you want to, because you care about this person and you've been with them for a year and a half, and you want to support them, and you see all this stuff that they're about to go through, and you feel like you see the big picture that they can't see, and you want to support them. And it's great to know you have that capacity to care for someone in that way, but you shouldn't act on it, and you can't act on it. And in the past 2 months or so is when I've just decided for myself that I'm not going to act on it in my situation, and I'm just going to let what happens. happen, and you have to do the same thing, and it's really hard. But everything right now, I don't know how recent this was, but it's seemingly right now, and I was at this spot too. Everything you're going through has some subtext to it about you wanting to get her back, even if you can't recognize that. But that's like every motive to talk to her, every motive to help her is because you want to feel like you're still in a relationship with her. And you have to just let her make her mistakes, and it doesn't mean she's going to come back to you. It doesn't mean any of that. It just means that it is what it is, and you have to just move on from that and accept that it really sucks, and there's nothing to do about it, nothing to fix, nothing to change. It just is.
Yeah, I was a. Oh, you go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay, I'll go ahead. I was about to say basically what you were saying. I think I tend to want to white knight the situation like all the time when it gets to, I have to recognize that it's such a guy move to kind of want it to save the day, and really that's coming from a place where you want to save the day because you want to get the girl back. You want to be the guy at the end of the movie that she leaves the other guy.
The
for.
Tyler.
Yeah, the Tyler. So you got to recognize that about yourself. And realize you need someone who will respect you as much as you respect them. So you need to go out and just find someone new. That's my suggestion.
Lyric?
Yeah, I really, really agree with that and what everyone said. And I just want to say, I think it's sweet that you want to help her, but I do see also it coming from a place of a different, kind of like wanting to be the one who gets her back in a certain way. But I think like, yeah, I mean, you can't fix this. You can't, get her or like make her see that she shouldn't be with him, because that usually when someone tells you, like, you still don't see it, and it's just not really your responsibility or your place to do that. And I think just moving on and knowing that like she made her choices and now you can make yours.
And your advice is not all that authentic because it's got its own agenda to it. So let one of her girlfriends give her advice. It can't be you. And if you notice, like the arc of any romantic movie, it's like they don't wind up together until they completely break up. And then there's some sort of thing that happens that brings them back together.
But also
Don't
don't
assume there's that
reference.
thing.
Don't use your
Or you
Watch
move on.
the two sensitive
That's what I was
guys
saying.
being
Get
like, don't
noisy.
assume.
No.
You have to assume that it's going to be the worst.
Or you move
Yeah,
on.
all
Or
the
like
time.
either you move on and one of two things happens. Either she starts to miss you, or you forget about her. Like one of two things.
Or both.
She won't miss you.
And
Right,
both-
yeah.
Assume that she
She
won't
definitely
miss
And
you.
if she
will not
does,
miss you.
but she doesn't.
But your agenda
No.
needs to be like, well, what's best
She'll
for
miss
me?
you.
But you're
Yeah.
right in letting one of her girlfriends warn her, because I just want to say, like, it might have the opposite effect. If you do go ahead and try to do any sort of like trying to help her in any way, it's going to have the opposite effect, because she's not going to want to hear it from you, and she's going to think that's going to make her think Tyler's even greater.
I mean, and maybe you can attest to this because you are a girl, and maybe you would like one of your girlfriends to tell you in this circumstance. But like to me, I would just say stay out of it entirely. Don't go to one of her girlfriends. Don't go to anyone.
Oh,
Don't
no, not for
solicit
him to go.
anybody.
No.
Oh, yeah,
I'm not
okay.
saying to
No.
solicit
Okay,
anybody
yeah,
Just
yeah.
to
organically
Oh,
come
yeah, of
from
course.
somebody
Right,
else.
You
okay.
don't need to hire any lobbyists
Yeah.
to support your agenda.
All right.
You just need to move on with your life. I know that's not what you want to do, but that's the only way through this, is that she's got to walk her path and you've got to walk yours. She's been someone that you can no longer trust. So your relationship is not authentic any longer. She's betrayed all of that.
Yeah, you need to move on.
So we're going to move on to the next question.
What?
So it's like
I
that's
just
what
have
this
one
is
more
about.
thing.
Thank you so much for
This
calling
next
the show.
one's from Tyler.
Oh,
Wait, didn't he have two questions?
but we do need to move on.
It's kind of in the same.
It's a show, Ken. You got to just keep it.
Showbiz.
You got to keep it jumping. Ryan, please read the next question.
I would love to.
Because it starts with "I'm a girl," so I'm going to enjoy that.
I'm a girl.
Right.
No, I'm a girl.
Yes.
I made a fake profile page where I pretend to be male, and I met this girl who was amazing. We have been dating for 2 years now.
Whoa.
I want to come clean so I can let this go and focus on myself, but it's been so long I don't want to hurt her. I don't know what to do or say.
So this is a letter from the catfish, which is awesome. Lyric.
Okay, so you guys are dating on, like, this is like actually dating
But
online.
she's pretending to be someone
Like-
else.
For 2 years.
Yeah.
This
Wait,
could
and
not
you're
be-
online. You've never met, clearly.
That
Clearly.
doesn't mean.
I respect this question so much, but at the same time, like, that's really messed up.
But it happens all over the internet. It's happening.
Doesn't mean that it's okay.
That's why
It's
there's
just-
a show called Catfish. This is
I'm,
someone.
like,
this
so
is
confused
and this is
this
from
time.
the eyes of the catfish, where I've made this fake profile. I've convinced someone to fall in love with me under these false pretenses. How do I expunge this lie? And
You're
be-
really in deep on this one, though. Like,
but she needs to.
But
just,
I don't think too deep.
I definitely 2 years.
Okay.
And like when you're pretending to be a guy when
I don't
you're
think
a girl.
I don't think you're like, okay, yes, this is gonna be hard. This is gonna be so hard to actually like not fix it, but like tell the truth. But I don't think that you're like in too deep that you can't do anything now.
oh
Like,
yeah, you have to do it.
You
No,
have
the
to
do
it.
bottom
but
line
it
is you have to tell them. That's.
But it will scuttle the relationship. But the relationship wasn't.
This
a thing
was never a relationship.
It wasn't a
This is
thing to
built
begin
on
with.
the biggest
It's
lie
all built
exactly.
on
in the
lies.
world.
Dave.
It was a relationship. I think we have to recognize that it was a relationship because it's important for it's important to recognize that any communication that's constant for 2 years, even if they never meet, but they're constantly talking for 2 years, that's a relationship.
Yeah,
But
there's
you don't have
an
to meet in
emotional
person.
dependency
Yeah.
here.
So what I think has to happen is she has to end it, but she has to write a letter that's basically revealing everything but saying it as a goodbye letter, because it's at an end. She should know the truth and what happened. This is goodbye.
You
this
can't
is
come
who
back
I
from
am.
this.
I have no.
It's and I'm sorry this has happened to you. I've enjoyed the last 2 years. And just put a bow on it and end it and just
And no
accept
more
that it's-
communication
that it's
How
after
do you
that,
get
yeah.
away with talking with someone for
I
2
know.
years without like video chatting or calling? Like
People accept what they need. So if they want to sustain what
in our day and
what
age where we
is-
have like iPhones with FaceTime
Yeah,
and
that's
all
true.
this
But there's-
technology, you're telling me they didn't like.
but there's so
true.
much of this, and if you watch the show Catfish
Right.
on
And
MTV,
social
which I
media
highly
also.
encourage.
I've watched that show. I watched
Yes.
like one episode of
So
that.
so people will say, "Oh yeah, she never is available to meet me. There's always some crisis. There's always some excuse." But I'm completely in love with this person. So they
But you're in love
really
with a fake
don't want.
person.
It's like we want to believe that magic exists, and so that's why magicians don't reveal how they do their trick. But it's like, oh, it's magic. But in this case, it's like, yes, there's a way that this happens, and it's by saying, here's a picture, and here's me, and here's my words, and I'm in love with the illusion that a person who looks like this and sounds like this and speaks like this loves me, and they don't want to hear the truth, but in order for everybody to just move on with their lives and find something more deep and more authentic, where you're not constantly trying to hold up something that is unreal, your question to us means I'd like to tell the truth, and we're giving you permission to do that, Lyric.
And I think in writing, this letter, which is over probably text.
Yeah, email.
Unfortunately,
or
yeah.
whatever.
I think you need to start by saying why you were doing this in the
first place.
And say,
And
2 years
apologize.
ago when I first met you, I thought it would be fun. Whatever reason you wanted to be a guy online, and you need to give the backstory and like a very full story of what has been going through your mind as you've been in this relationship. Because usually when you get a letter that has so much detail and feeling in it, it hurts less. I mean, it's just kind of like if you know that the person spent time to think about this and is giving you a full, like, real story. Sorry, I just spit a bunch.
Right.
Then you will feel more like, okay,
the motives.
I get that.
And I really
little
love
bit
you,
more.
And I really love you. And
And
this
I
is
care
why.
about, yeah.
Not at all. Like, I'm sorry. Like,
You
I'm
don't
sorry,
think
but
so?
you cannot be sincere with this. Like, I mean, you have to be sincere, but you can't pour in any of this. Like, you lied to them about who you are for 2
Yeah.
years.
No, but they've
You
been
have-
communicating
you've-
very,
that-
very
but
deeply.
with
it's
someone
all
who doesn't
fake.
exist. It's all fake, and you have to be
No.
clear.
It's not all
No,
Yeah,
no,
but
no,
but
no,
it
no,
doesn't
no.
The
come
connection-
So what are you
is fake.
suggesting? How would they?
to say, I mean, first off, once you reveal to them, oh yeah, I've lied about who I am for 2 years. This is why I did it. First off, they can't believe anything you're going to say now. That's the first part. And the second part is it doesn't soften the blow at all. When you literally find out that someone you're in love with doesn't exist, it doesn't matter
But
whether
they're
they
not
had.
being malicious.
But
it just
I mean,
Yeah.
but the
went
letting
down
it
a-
go
It
on
doesn't
for
come
2
from the
years and not
malicious-
stopping it like earlier than
Yeah.
2 years, thinking that it's okay to like lie to someone.
Wait, but
There
let me-
is
let-
literally
let me
no
just-
coming back from this.
Let me just say this. The person that she's been communicating with for 2 years, who hasn't seen the boy, hasn't video chatted with the boy, has never experience the visualness of it being a boy other than photographs stolen from the internet, that person can't be that surprised to find out they've been
Right,
catfished.
for 2
Well, no,
years.
Because
No, no, no.
they've been involved.
Logically,
they've been
but it's not
agreeing
like
to
that.
the
They're
illusion.
not going to be like, oh, since we've only been talking over text, it's not that big of a difference.
Right.
Well,
Like,
but how much is there in the media warning people that people may not be who they say they are?
Yeah, sure. There was a sign. Yeah, sure. They like, yes, that's logical to come to that conclusion, but it doesn't change the way they feel about it. So I'm not. So yes, like on a very like, on a very high moral level, like, do they deserve to find out in this? Like, sure, I guess, but it's just a person who's going to be crushed by this news, and it's not going to soften the blow to say I've loved this and what. Like, no, just
That's not what I'm saying. I'm
Here's-
saying literally to just give some
Wait.
backstory. Go ahead.
Okay, here's the thing. I think we also have to recognize this is a girl who disguised herself as a boy to talk to another girl. I think she's obviously going through a transitional period of some sort, whether she's coming
Sexual
out as
identity.
yeah,
something,
she's coming out as
trying to figure it
bi,
out.
gay, or transgendered. She's trying to figure out herself right now. And if she's able to communicate through that 2-year relationship, and she was honest in that 2 years. You can't talk to someone for 2 years without a bit of honesty and a real relationship forming. So the best thing to do is say goodbye to the relationship, back away, be honest about what you've been going through, who you are, and just back away and stop
I agree with that
communication
part.
and move on.
This
Yeah,
is going to
that's all
sound
that
kind
I'm
of messed
saying.
up, but like that kind of makes it worse. The fact that you brought someone else down in a time where you were having an internal issue is not fair at all to the other person who fell in love with someone that didn't exist just because you wanted to be someone that you're not.
It isn't fair,
I,
but
Yeah,
there's
I
a
agree
lot
with
of
that too.
people
Fair.
doing it.
You
It's
also-
being done, and it's being done for all the reasons that Dave is explaining. That you're trying to figure out who you are and how to express yourself in a close romantic way.
And it probably just spiraled out of. I don't see it coming from such a malicious place. I see
Right.
it. This person started out like Dave's saying because they had their own identity issues. They wanted to try something out. They met someone. They had a connection, and before they knew it, they probably connected very quickly. And then it became too hard. This is just. I'm just guessing. Like this, it just became too hard too early.
What's important to realize is we're not saying people should catfish
Not at
if they're
all.
having
Yeah.
issues with their identity. Don't do it.
Don't.
But now that you did do it, you can't go back in time for 2 years. So all you have to do is end it and come clean with who you are.
Tiny thing. But
Ken.
do you think you're telling me that someone who lied about their full-on gender has not lied about anything else? They're just like
no. He's just saying
gender's
that there was
just no- I know,
there was
no.
some
'Cause
I know.
validity.
I'm saying this
That's
about the whole
not
relationship.
necessarily,
I'm
no.
saying that she lied about something that important. There's probably
No,
a
there's
lot of
definitely
other things.
so many other
Because this
lies.
is the thing. When you lie about your gender,
Sorry.
you have to lie about so many other things
No, you
in
don't.
order. Yeah, in
No,
order
you
to
don't.
make. In
No,
order to
I-
make
I
the lie
actually-
about your
Okay.
gender.
You're telling me for 2 years, people in this age are not going to talk at all about. This is going to be weird, but like you're telling me like people for 2 years are not going to talk.
Because like if you're
About
lying about
anything
your
sexually?
gender,
No, but
Like,
okay,
that's
but
a
sure,
lie.
I kind
the
of want to
gender-
see the girl being like, my 14-inch penis. Is that how big they are? I don't even.
Look, the thing is, I'm just saying that I'm saying that like we can't make a blanket statement that says if you lie about your gender, you're lying about everything else.
I'm not saying that you're lying
No, no,
about
no, I'm-
everything else, but just that if you're lying about your gender, you have to lie about other things in relation to your gender. So you're not just lying about your gender. You have to lie about all of
any
this
lie
other
leads
stuff.
to a lot
Well,
more
the
lies.
foundation
Yeah.
of the relationship is entirely based on
Yeah.
a lie.
Yeah,
That's kind
like
of
there
just-
is
To the
literally no coming back from that whatsoever. You said you were a guy, but you're a girl.
No,
Like how is that even okay?
But well, no, I was just going back a few steps, if I can, to what you were saying about the malicious intent behind it. Like, I totally agree. I don't think that this person went into it like, I'm going to catfish someone. This is going to be so fun. I don't think that's at all how it happened. And I just think when you think about maybe like someone cheating on someone else in a relationship, it's generally also not malicious in that sense either. You know, two people are together, something happens, and then they find themselves in this predicament. But it doesn't change. What's more important is the pain it causes the person who's affected by it, and less so the intent behind it. Like,
Right.
I think it's like nice that they weren't trying to be malicious, but I just think that the pain is going to be the same regardless.
The
Oh,
thing
yeah.
is,
Yeah.
what
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it sounds like, I don't want to sound like I'm like, they are so brave for catfishing. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that it was a moment of weakness that should have never happened.
Mhm.
It was a terrible thing to do. No one should ever do it. But now that it's done, the best thing you can do is end it and don't ghost out of it. Don't lie and say the person died. What they have to know the truth. They have to know the whole truth, and then you leave and never
Nothing but
communicate
the
with them.
truth.
And
What's
I
done
don't,
is
and I
done.
don't mind,
Say
you know, and I
that.
don't mind what Lyric was saying, the motivation behind it, because
Yes.
once you establish the connection itself becomes an addiction, and every time your phone vibrates, you're getting those endorphins of like, oh, I heard from this person that loves me and that I love, and so you're creating kind of all of this infrastructure of like connectivity, and it's going to really hurt to pull that Band-Aid off. But it's the question now is, do you do it now, or do you do it a year from now, or do you do it
Tonight.
You do it now, because it's not okay, and it's preventing both of you from establishing authentic bonds with people that you need to go forward and establish. So it's like a crutch, I guess. It's an emotional crutch.
Yeah.
And I think both parties, I know the person who catfished is like probably the most guilty party, but the other person that's been suspending disbelief, Ryan, you know this person's been suspending disbelief.
No, I know they have, but we all suspend disbelief about everyone we know and appreciate in our lives. Like, there's so many things. You can find so many flaws with everyone you care about if you look closely, but we just look past people's flaws. And so I know this isn't exactly like someone's flaw, more so like it is suspending disbelief, but I just don't think that they're guilty for that. Like, yeah, they've done it, but I just don't find it's not something to be guilty of, you know?
I
Lyric?
think just the ultimate thing is to, even if the person isn't going to believe that you're telling the truth, just to tell the whole truth, because you have nothing to lose here. I mean, honestly, just really pour your heart and soul into it. No, okay, that sounds really
Yeah.
cheesy, but
No,
really,
yeah.
really tell everything that has been going on so that they can at least sort of know what's been going on through your mind. That's all that I'm saying, is just that it can kind of help. I mean, I don't know if it's going to help, but you will feel
It's a way
the
of saying,
ultimately
I wasn't
best.
just tricking you. I really
There
love
was a reason
Yeah.
behind all of this.
So we have to
That's the
move
big
on, because I
thing.
want to get this question in, and we've got 10 more minutes in the show. This one
Oh
says,
my God.
I know, you guys have been super helpful. I've recently got a new boyfriend. He's really nice, but I feel pressured to do things with him. It started off just with a kiss, but now he wants me to have sex with him, and I'm afraid to say no. Can you help, Ryan?
First off, there's a lot of steps in between kiss and sex that, like, you need to know that first. So, like, as far as taking things slowly, he's taking things, what I would say, way too fast. Everyone's different, but obviously you're considering this way too fast as well. You need to have the strength just to say no to him and to know that he cares about you, or should care about you if he's your boyfriend and you care about him, and that you can talk to him about what your expectations are and try and get on the same page about that. Kenneth?
My opinion on this is just the fact that if you actually care about someone, that leap from kiss to sex doesn't exist. You guys create that path together because you care about it. And the fact that he's doing that kind of just makes this question where if you read, like, whoever wrote this question, read it out loud and pretend like somebody else asked you this question and see what you would have said, because no one's going to be okay with this. No one's going to read this and be like, you know what? Just go with it. See what happens. Like,
Yeah.
no, you
Just go
should
for it.
definitely not communicate with
Like,
this person
the
anymore.
word sex should not come together with the word pressure, ever.
Yeah, well,
Like,
Well-
if you're actually afraid to say no, then, like, when I first read this question, I was like, no, this is not a healthy relationship. You shouldn't be in this relationship. You need to either break up with him or have a serious conversation with him about where things are going and how he feels about you, because if he's pressuring you, he does not respect you. He just wants to use you. And you need to have a serious talk with him or break up with him.
Yeah.
And just just urging you, however you go about it, like, stay strong to what you are comfortable with.
Yeah.
Because if you don't now, you're young, it's just going to continue that
Yeah.
you're going to, if you give in to something that you're not comfortable with doing, you're going to do it in your next relationship, and you're going to do it in your next relationship, and it's just going to continue. So stay strong to what you are comfortable with.
Yeah, I'm gonna add, since the camera's still on me, that you should be able to say no to anyone you're in love with. You should be able to say no to your future husband, and every guy. This is important. Every guy has to hear no. Every guy has to be able to understand that no is no, whatever it is. So, I'm just saying that for the guy out there. Because I also think that there's sometimes, I don't know at what period this question was actually written. This could be someone who just had their first kiss and is thinking, oh man, I'm going to have sex soon. And all this means is, okay, you're in a relationship. Now talk openly about what's expected and what you believe. And if it's a good guy, if it's a guy you should be with, they should be able to say, no, I'm going to be there whenever you feel comfortable.
I would also add on to that I think, and we kind of discussed blanket statements before this and the other question, but there's a lot of different types of pressure. And it's really generally an indicator of a bad person is someone who's going to verbally pressure you into doing things or physically pressure you into doing things. But sometimes pressure can come from kind of what you were saying, oh, I had my first kiss, now I feel this pressure to have sex, even though it's never been brought up or pushed by anyone. So I will say that I don't think you should just go off and label someone a bad person or a bad boyfriend because you're feeling pressure. If they're pressuring you, that's a different thing. But if you feel the pressure that comes from a lot of different places, be wary of it, be aware of it, understand where it's coming from. But don't just say as a blanket statement, I feel pressured, so my boyfriend's a bad person. Lyric?
And also, oh God, I'm turning. Okay. And I think also
She's turning.
not being in a relationship where you don't I know.
Come back to me when I'm done with my rotation. I'll be back.
That's me.
We'll be back after this rotation.
I think if you're in a relationship that you don't feel comfortable saying no to him, that could just be your personality, but I think you need to feel comfortable saying no. And that's just an ultimate thing that needs to be. And if you have said no and he's still pressuring you, then this is really not good.
So what's really tricky is, and Tamara kind of like touched upon this, is that you're kind of writing your relationship map as you go through these early relationships in your life in terms of how you expect to be treated. And when you're really head over heels in love with someone, it's so hard to not do for them what they want because you really just want to please the other person. So that's the one place where to say yes to him means to make yourself really vulnerable and put yourself at risk. And so unless he's a guy that's willing to make you so comfortable and feel so safe, he's not going to get to have sex with you. Like, that's such a privilege and such an honor, and it has to come with so much trust. And you don't earn that trust just by saying, come on, let's do it. Like, that is not how a guy should be going about earning your trust.
Yeah.
Right.
And I know it's really hard when you love him because you're worried that if I say no, he'll go date somebody else. And it's like really easy for us to say, well, then, let him get someone else pregnant. That's, her problem. Because it's not like we're saying, oh, just cast him off and send him out there to, be someone else's problem, because
somebody else.
You're not there. You're in love with him. So, we get that, but he needs to honor who you are, Ryan.
Yeah, it's something you guys are doing together. It's not something you're doing for him.
Or to him, or he's doing to you.
Right,
or,
exactly. So, like, the way that he should be checking in, and it's not going to be verbatim, but, about, like, what's appropriate, he might just say, like, hey, just so you know, I'm ready for this, and when you're ready, you let me know. And that's it. And then you know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of communication it should be. It shouldn't be like, when are we going to do it? When are we going to do it? So if he's, like we've said, if he's pressuring you in that way and he's trying to get you to do something that you don't want to do for yourself, not for him, but for yourself, then it's not appropriate.
I guess, and also too, I guess you're asking how. It sounds like you're asking how to let him know, and there's no wrong way to tell him that you're uncomfortable. There's no wrong way. You like any way that you tell him,
Even
I'm
if
not
you
ready
blurt
for
out,
that.
I'm not having sex.
Yeah, or
That's fine.
there's no wrong way to say it. So if you're going back to your question of just how to do it, anything.
I'm not ready for that.
Also, I would say that, like, making sure that this isn't something, sometimes guys will be like, well, if you don't have sex with me, I'm going to break up with you. And if it gets, like, I know people that have done that. And it's just, you really mean, like what?
For me, hearing that is like, someone would do that. Like,
yeah,
that's
no,
really
I know. And so I think you need to make sure that if it's not something that, like, if you don't have sex with me, I'm going to go find it somewhere else. Like, that would be horrible. So I think just making it clear that, like, you really care about him, but you're not ready to do this. And like I said, if he can't respect that, it's really not a good relationship.
And
Kenneth.
Like, I see what you were saying, Louise, about, like, the real love and everything. But if you read the question, it says, I have a new boyfriend.
Yeah, I know. It's
and
a new
he's
boyfriend.
really nice.
Okay.
Like,
okay.
that's how it started out. And
Yeah.
I mean, I can see what you mean, but it just doesn't really sound like, we've been dating and I really love him and I don't know what to do. Like, he's really nice.
It sounds
So, I mean,
so what you're saying is it sounds like she thinks that you just have to go along. And as Tamara was saying, you don't. And you write the map of how your relationships are going to look and how you're going to be treated.
You write the map of love.
Also,
That's all I wanna
just like have a conversation with
That was
them.
a
Like,
really
don't
good
go
song.
up to them and be like, "Oh, you pig," and then slap him in the face and leave.
You,
Like,
know, you converse about it because maybe he doesn't know what you can and
Yeah.
can't ask for inside of a relationship.
Yeah.
Like,
He's writing
you know,
his map,
you're
too.
both he's writing his map too.
Oh.
Wow.
We should call this Journals episode Maps.
No, there's already a Maroon 5 song with that.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
All right. I would like to thank Liquid Feet for being with us.
Thank you.
Where can
Thank
people
you.
find you?
You can find us at Liquid Feet Tweet,
On Twitter.
but you could also find us
Just-
individually at Mr. Dave Child.
You can find me on Twitter at Brown Tamra, but just Google Liquid Feet on YouTube.
There's so many good ones.
Like
that's
us on
where
I'm gonna
our-
Facebook.
subscribe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, subscribe to us on YouTube.
Do you guys
And
want to
like
dance
our
us out?
Facebook page.
You guys want to
Yes,
dance us out?
please.
We
Sure.
can.
All right, move those
There's
mics.
too many chords.
Move the mics.
Is it safe to dance?
It's gonna be like double Dutch.
We're gonna see your midriffs, but I think that'll be worth it.
Oh, midriffs.
Ooh, this is
Right.
pretty.
Call the dress code
scandalous.
police.
All right, play our theme song, Matt. There we go. There we go.
I've been out there wandering. I've been in here wandering.
Need the shorts.